Apex Season 4 Assimilation has a lot of new changes to keep things feeling fresh, including a new legend who brings in a little bit more lore behind the Apex games with his entrance. But before we get into the lore analysis of this new arrival, plus maybe another legend, here are some other points of interest to note for the season. The World's Edge map will be slightly changed. In this photo from a blog post by Respawn, this part of Capital City has been destroyed and the lava beneath the ground is visible. It's not a huge change, but considering there might be other locations that are affected, this greatly reduces ground areas to run and loot on. Along with these map changes to World's Edge, Kings Canyon will be making a return halfway through Season 4. Part of this map switchover is due to the changes made to Ranked Mode. Ranked Mode in Season 4 will be split between two, quote, episodes, where ranks will be reset 1.5 tiers down and players will have to grind matches again, but this time on Kings Canyon. In addition to splitting the ranked season, adjustments have been made to the leveling tiers, and Master Tier now replaces Apex Predator. Master Tiers, where the players who have 10,000 RP or more will stand, and Apex Predators will now be reserved for the top 500 players on each platform. But just because you reach Apex Predator doesn't mean you get to stay there forever. It'll be a coveted spot that players will have to continue to play to maintain their titles. Rank rewards will also be getting a slight tweak, and dive trails will now be a temporary reward for all future series, due to the cluttered visual space when leaving the dropship. So don't worry, you'll get your fancy air trails, but only for that ranked series' time. Now let's get to the fun part of the video. Season 4 drops with a new legend called Forge, who seems to be a melee-based character armed with Shatter Gauntlets. The curious thing about the legend is that he's the very first Apex competitor to be sponsored by a company in-game. Forge is sponsored by Hammond Robotics, a well-known name in the Titanfall universe. To really understand the connection of this company and Apex and the Titanfall lore, we have to go way back. The first Titanfall took place when the Titan Wars and Frontier War were at large. The main powers fighting against each other were the IMC versus Militia. The IMC, Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation, was originally called Hammond Engineering, which was a massive industrial conglomerate existing on Earth. The IMC was notorious for sending their fleets to independent human colony worlds to exploit their natural resources from their planets. The colonists who suffered losing their homes and freedom to the IMC formed the militia and sparked a civil war that spread across the worlds. Hammond Robotics was an allied component of the IMC that acted as a manufacturing, aerospace, and defense contractor, meaning they produced war materials for the IMC cause. Materials that included Titans, Spectres, and Marvins, which are the janitor robots that Pathfinder may have originated from. Hammond Robotics actually even has a working website that's been around since the launch of Titanfall 1 that you can visit to find out more on what they're capable of. What's interesting about this history is that the IMC contracted a mercenary by the name Cuban Blisk, who led a mercenary group of elite pilots called Apex Predators, which players have been assuming Apex Legends was named after. The Apex games were founded after the Frontier War, when both the IMC and Militia had a final battle and both factions disappeared to let the Frontier govern themselves. Fans are speculating that Forge, being sponsored by a company that sided with the IMC and sought to extract resources from Worlds Without Care, could be the reason why parts of World's Edge looks destroyed. Construction signs have even begun popping up in certain locations in the game that state it's a, quote, future Hammond Robotics worksite, implying something larger in the works than a simple sponsorship. Additionally, Forge isn't the only legend players think will be dropping this season. After Revenant's introduction to the game during the Halloween event, people have been digging up more and more about this mysterious figure. Reddit user Von Hald found that Revenant was floating around on Respawn's Season 2 announcement page background, showing that he was lurking and, quote, watching. However, nothing has been officially announced on Revenant's return, and Respawn quietly changed its Apex Twitter account to Outlands Television, continuing to tease the arrival of Forge. They even posted a mock interview with Forge that was brought to us by Hammond Robotics. Players are speculating that during Forge's debut, something may go awry and Revenant may take over the Apex scene. There's also a theory that because there's a map switch halfway through the season, Revenant may show up when Kings Canyon turns over. There's a heavy load of content in Season 4 that's going to keep you on your toes. It'll also be the 1-year anniversary for Apex, so there'll be additional daily login rewards to look out for. What do you think's happening with the lore behind the Apex games? Do you think Revenant is the real legend coming next? Or do you think we'll get 2 legends in 1 season? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to stay here at IGN for more Apex news.